right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, we can proceed then. So the first one is like we need to remove duplicates from the sorted linked list. Sorted linked list is given. Need to delete all the duplicates such that each of the element will appear only once. So here 1, 1, 2, you'll have 1, 2, and here 1, 2, 3, and no such constraints is here. Yeah. Yeah. Any approach or any queries here?
So here in this, they are saying it's a sorted linked list, right?
Yeah.
And then we have to delete all the duplicates. So it
Yeah.
means it looks very easy, right?
Because
Because
of sorted one.
yeah. If it was not
Yeah.
sorted, then surely it would be more complex to implement, right?
Can we solve if it's not sorted?
Yeah, we can solve. Why not? If it is
Yeah,
not
but
sorted, what I would do is actually go through the whole list one,
in
store.
every time,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, first I just traverse the whole list, store it in some area or so, and or maybe set, and then again form another list and then send it.
Yeah, I mean, extra space you will take, right? Take
Yeah, I'll
every
take an
element.
extra space.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like that, I'm saying like pick one node and then search throughout the array, sorry, throughout the linked list. And whenever we find,
A duplicate, then remove it, right?
yeah, we copy it with the next element. Like 1, 2, and 1 is there. So when you are at 1, copy the 2 to 1
Yeah. So
and
in that
directly connect.
case, yeah, that's correct. But in that case, I would actually, understand what the requirement is, whether it is time is important or space is important, and then actually
Space,
would
yeah.
implement it. Yeah, something like that.
Mhm.
Yeah. Sorry, you
Because
were
at
saying
times
something.
you'll have, yeah, and at times we have questions like a node is given like 1, 2, 3 is the linked list and a pointer is given at 2 only, so you have to delete 2 using
Right.
that single. Yeah, so in that case we just copy to 2 and it gets.
Yeah, that's an
uh,
easier way to do it, right? If we just copy the previous
yeah,
node and then delete it. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it becomes easy because of this sorted one. Yeah,
Yeah.
anyone like, it's, yeah, the trivial only. I mean, somebody wants to share the code. What I did is like simply whenever I see the current and the next is equal, I'll just increase your temp by two step, else it will increase by 1 step.
Mm.
Yeah, initially temp is here and you just check whether the temp dot next this is not null. If it is not null, then this temp dot next will this will directly point to this. What you say, to 2. After that, you don't have, just return the head. No.
At line 14, do you want to check temp also?
If I remove temp, no. I, yeah, because let's say if head is none, then I
Oh,
mean the linked list itself. Yeah.
what
Then
is
you.
when you check the head initially
So
only?
guys, one query from my side.
Yes.
If input all the values are ones, like 4 ones, then this code will not work, I think.
While loop you have to use then here, I think. While, as long as you find that first and next element are equal, you go on, skipping all those, continue, and just one step before that. I think it should continue. It should also work, but it would not be that efficient.
I think 2 ones will be the output. I think so.
Let's see. No, 1 only. No, each element should appear only once.
Okay. Okay, it's
Actually,
fine.
he's taking care of that in the if statement, seems.
Yeah, but I think this will not be a more. I mean, this is not an efficient code for that. Here we have to check, put while loop and check each time. If you are if your next element is same as previous, just continue. I mean, increase the pointer till you hit the different element. Just one step back, you stop, and from there, and you have to take previous pointer. Some pointer modifications you have to do. Otherwise, here at times only 2 elements they are checking, right? And every time I'm updating the temp dot next. or any other, yeah, any other apart from this?
I think the way you did here in the if and else, you are
Yeah,
actually incrementing the temp to temp dot next in the else statement. That actually takes care of that. Someone said about 111, right? If there are 3 ones, you will get two
yeah,
ones. I think the else temp is equal to temp next takes care of that. So therefore, you don't have 2 ones; it will only have 1 1.
Yeah, yeah,
one.
got it.
Yeah.
Okay, let me remove this temp. Should it work? I don't think so.
No, no. Actually, you should have the temp, but remove temp next. I think that should work. Okay, go ahead with this first. Yeah.
Let me see. It's working. Yeah.
But if you
Let me
submit that,
submit it. Yeah. Some problem.
there might be some test case
But
depending. Oh, it works.
it's not
Cool.
working. Yeah. But if I don't use this, then it will be a trouble, I think. If I just skip it. Yeah, empty list, it will be a problem. Hmm. Yeah, it's good sorry. Not empty list. Yeah. Yeah. If some other code is there or something from this.
I have a similar one, but actually it's almost the same. It's nothing to, but it's only C, C++. I
Oh,
think I
okay.
use the same almost exact. Now, when you did not temp return, I also did that
Yeah.
first. And then the only thing is
And
I'm just having while loop. In the while, I say, here you say temp dot next. You are looking for that. I'm just looking for temp, and that's
yeah.
all. But I'm taking
Plus,
care of that
and
in the if statement.
okay. The consecutive elements if are same.
Rest everything almost same, yeah. And I delete
Okay.
the node because you don't have to delete in Python.
Yeah, simply pointing to the next one.
Right.
Oh, you have to free that space, right? I mean,
Yeah.
once you find that answer duplicate, okay.
Mm.
So free lock some memory, okay. Mm. Yeah, we can proceed to next then. I think, no doubt. Somebody chat.
I think there is something in the chat. Let's see.
Yeah, Ashwani. Oh, yeah. She's saying, yeah, add a session. Can we start the session 30 minutes earlier? Since many times we go. She's telling to start the sessions 30 minutes
Yeah.
earlier. And the
Yeah, you
reason
can post that session, this suggestion in the Slack, so maybe the organizers will look at it. Right?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, yeah, sure. Yeah, next is like combination sum 4. We are given an integer array with all possible numbers and no duplicates. Need to find the number of possible combinations that will 1 2 1 to 1. All these will sum up to 4. Different sequences are counted as different. Yeah, like 1 2 and 2 1 will be different, I think. 1 2 no 1 1 3 and 3 1 will be different here because the sequence is different. What if negative numbers are allowed in a given array, and how does it change the problem? What are limitations we need to take care for negative numbers? Yeah, in equation approach.
Yeah, I didn't understand the constraint about the negative numbers, how it is going to impact.
Yeah, what if the negative numbers? I mean, if we have negative numbers in our array, right?
Uh-huh.
How? Yeah, then the target is given. Then how would we solve this problem? What limitations we need to add to the question to allow negative numbers? What limitations? If negative numbers are allowed. If negative numbers are allowed, then
Yeah, but actually for me it looks the same, right? If the target is just what is the target? Target is the sum,
4.
all of them, right?
Yeah.
So if you have negative numbers, you will still achieve the same target. You have to achieve the same target.
Target is not the sum of array, right? Target is alone, like it's not the sum of array.
No, no. What I'm saying is you have to, when
Yeah.
you're finding a combination, you need to sum up to that target, right? Is it not
Yeah,
that?
yeah. Yeah.
But if you use that negative number, I mean, you need to know, I mean, you can use the same number multiple times, right? So if it is negative number, you need to know how many times you can use to get the target as well. Otherwise, you will go on decrease. I mean, you can end up
Minus
in a
infinite.
infinite loop.
Mm.
So then, what you would do means, can you come up with some example? Things will be slightly more clear in that case. So like if it is something minus 1 and 1 and the target is 0, then you can go for like minus 1 1 minus 1 minus 1 1 1, something like that, right? So that
Minus
will
1
go to
plus.
infinity.
We can never get 0 in that case. Minus 1 minus. What you said, the array elements? Minus 1 minus 1?
If it is just minus 1 and 1, okay,
Yeah.
and then our target is 0, then I think you can have one combination as minus 1 1 0 will give 0.
Yeah.
Then you have two
Yeah.
minus 1s and two plus 1s, which will also give 0. Then similarly you
0.
can
Yeah.
keep on increasing for all the minus 1s and 1, right? So to
It will
get
never
target,
end.
and
Yeah.
yeah, it will never end. I think that is what it says, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That is apt more. Again, we'll have 4 minus 4 plus.
Yeah. So where do you end it? Okay. So we keep that aside because for now it seems it's only the positive integer and positive numbers as per the problem statement, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
So this looks like a, or what you say, coin change problem, a
Similar to
DP
that.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So then you can find how many different ways you can make changes, right? Make a change
Hmm.
of the given target, something like that. But only the difference here is you can have different permutations also, right? Like 1 3 and 3 1. But in that case
3
it
1.
was
It will be counted as 1 only. 1 3 and 3 1.
maybe
Coin change.
not. Okay, I'm not sure, but
Okay.
because if we use the same way, it should work in this case also. Correct?
Yeah, it's the same. I mean, that only. But there, we don't have like.
You can have duplicates, right? I mean, if you are considering it like that, I mean, let's suppose the target is 4 itself. Now I'm making it like 2 plus 2. The 1 1 will come in both sides.
Yeah.
I mean, there can be, I mean, duplicates that you need to, I mean, if you are finding it like that dynamic per dB problem, there might be duplicates. I mean,
In the array.
no, in the count.
Count.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
No, so Uday, you are saying that duplicates can happen. So
How
they
do
can
you
also
have to
happen in the
calculate?
DP also, right? In the DP
Yeah.
solution
But
also, you will still have duplicates, right?
No.
that's why memoization. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
I thought this is just a, I mean, backtracking problem. I mean, where you handle that. But if you are having like dynamic, I mean, I'm not sure how will you when you are adding two sums. I mean, if the target is x and you have A and B. There, when you add these two to get the target, there might be duplicates. In the before sums as well.
Yeah, we will store value for that, and when we see, we'll pick it from the table, that value. Like, let's see, if I say like for first element will take 1, then the remaining would be 3. Now for getting 3 we'll have 1 and 2, and for getting 2 we have 1 and this. And so number of ways of getting this is what? Initially I'll have a DP array. You will again break it into 1 and 0. The number of possible ways of getting 0 is 1, and for this is 0. So whatever ways you get for this, whatever ways you get for this, just add up. This again will add up to this, and this will finally give you the result of getting 4.
I was referring to this one itself. Now for
Yeah.
4, you have taken 1 and 3.
Yeah.
This is fine, but you might do something like 2 plus 2 as well, right? After some time.
Yeah, I'll do for everything. Like first I took first element of array, with 1, I'll get whatever combinations I can
Yeah.
get. Then I'll check
So
for
I
2,
was
4, 2,
referring
2,
to
I'll
that
have.
itself. There might
Yeah.
be some overlapping solutions between 1, 1, 3 and 2 and 2.
Yeah, definitely. This 1, 1 and this 1, 1. This is what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a different, what you say. With 2, I'm getting all these things, right? That's why DP is coming into picture. Know that I have already computed the value in 1. Number of ways that I can get 1, that I'll pick from the table. So you're telling these 2 1s and these 2 1s are repeated.
Yeah.
Those are the only
And
repeating the
the
problems.
4-1 solution is there in 1 and 3 as well as 2, 2.
Yeah.
Okay. So you understood my question, right?
Yeah, I got it. You are saying here also 1 1 is coming in. I mean, in the combination for when you take 2 2, when you take 1 3, this is also coming. So it will add up extra. That is what you're saying.
Yeah.
But this is corresponding to this possible combination when you take 2 2. Yeah, but and this is with 1 3. Both.
I didn't solve it. If it is solvable by DP,
So Uday is saying like when in the 4, when you are having 1 and 3, for
Yeah.
3 you are having again 1 and 2, and in that
Yeah.
2 you are having 1 1. So there's that 2's 1 1 and the other one 4's 2 2, which has a
2 2.
1 1. Yeah,
Yeah.
correct. So that is what, if it's same, then it is an overlapping. That is what Uday is saying, right?
That's why DP is coming into picture. No.
No. I am trying to understand what Uday was saying. So is that correct?
Yeah, it's correct, I
Yeah.
think.
Okay.
I'm corresponding to this, what all combinations I can generate, and corresponding to 1 3, what all combinations I can generate. I'll add these two.
Can you draw the array and try to fill it from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4? That will make it clear, I think.
Yeah.
Initially for getting 0 1 way, that's by default, and rest. I think elements are like, what are the elements?
So yeah,
One,
in the
1 2
meanwhile, what
3.
he is doing. So Uday, so I think your question, what you were actually, you raised that question. So that the same thing what Shashank was referring. If you use a top-down approach, you can do a memorization and you can store those results of 2, and then you can reuse it. So that is solvable using a top-down approach. That is what he was trying to say.
Yeah. So this is corresponding to 1, this is corresponding to 2, and this is corresponding to 3. 1 3. And they are also selling 3 and 3 and 1. Both are different. Yeah. And this is 2 1. Again, you'll have 1 1 for this. So whatever ways you get from here, and from here, just.
So what is the value we put in the index 1? Is it 4?
It will be like so for like I have used DP of DP of I will be equal to number of ways of getting this I plus number of ways of getting DP of I minus num. So You are asking for 4, then dp of 4 will be number of ways of getting 4 plus number of ways of getting 4 minus 1, 3. Now for 3, I'll go for number of ways of getting 3, and what are the number of ways of getting 2. So here you'll have one way, here you'll have one way. So this is 2. Like if here you go one way, so this will be 2, again 1 1, this will be 2 2 to 4. It should be 4 here also. Here will be 2 ways, 1 ways, 2 plus 1, 3 ways, and here 1 ways. Right? That is getting confused.
You're trying to solve it the top-down approach.
Yeah.
So, but then why are you taking I is equal to dpi plus dpi minus n? What you say?
No, it's bottom up. No, like previous value I have
Okay.
from the table I'm picking.
Okay.
Like if I say 4, get the number of ways of getting 4 will be, what are the ways of getting 4 and what are the ways of getting when one you subtract from this 3. And for yeah.
I think like for the bottoms up approach, you could actually write a complete array first and then start filling with each and every value, so then it will be slightly clearer, because now you are actually drawing this recursive chart. It looks to me like it is a more top down approach.
Top down.
Yeah, so that is what I was thinking. But if it is bottoms up approach, you can just use an array and then keep on filling the numbers. Just a thought. I'm not saying that is the way it has to be done.
Okay, let me go walk. This is what I did. I first created an array.
Okay.
In which number of ways of getting 0 I've set as 1 by default. Like there is from rest 2 corresponding to 2 and 3, I'll have 0 and 0 initially. Now I'll walk from 1 to 4. Like your target is 4. First I'll try with 1. Now first I'll see that whether if that 1 is greater than equal to this or not. Because if the number that I picked from here, and if it is less than the 1, that definitely that number minus 1 will be negative. So I don't need to, that is what it is checking over here. Like let's for 2, if you go and if you take 1, then 1 minus 2, that will be negative. You can't have a complement number as negative, right?
Right.
So I'll pick 1 first and we'll check with this 1, is it greater or equal? If it is equal to this, then dp of 1 is equal to dp of 1 plus 1 minus 1. 1 minus 1 is what? 0. Like it will be your dp of 1 will be equal to your dp of 1 plus dp of 0. And for getting 0, what you have? For getting 1, you have 0 ways as of now from the table, because in table you have like 0. Sorry, you'll have 1, you'll have 0, you'll have 0. This for 0 1 I'll show.
So your table is the DP, right?
Yeah.
So your DP target is 4. So you will have at least 5 elements, right?
5 yeah. I think made a mistake there.
This
will be your 3.
Target only from 1 to target.
Pardon?
I'm saying on line number 8, you have written for I in range 1 to target plus 1. So target plus 1, does it mean we are going until target plus 1, right?
Target plus 1 because...
I mean, let's say I want to make 4. So does it mean I will go from 1 till 5, right?
Yeah, 1 to 5, but it will not take 5.
Okay, means it is exclusive of that last. Okay.
Yeah, it's a range like rule in Python. 1 less it will take from the whatever you put at the end.
Okay.
Yeah, or you could start from 0 to target. No, 0 to target, can't. So, and for dp of 0, what we have? One way. So for getting 1, you'll have one way. And again, you'll go for next number 1, you'll compare with 2, which is 1 is less than 2. So you can't do anything because 1 minus 2 will be negative, which it will not enter. If this enter, this will also not enter. Now you will go for 2. So dp of 2, you'll check. dp of 2 will be what? dp of 2 will be your dp of 2 plus dp of 2 minus I you have to do. So 2 minus I will be 1, right? And of 2 initially you have 0. Sorry, this is 0. And for 1, you'll have one way. So for getting 2, you will have one way. Similarly for 3, you will do. And 4. So initially for 2, you'll have 1. So you can update this to 1. Now if you have to go for, now you have to check this 2 is greater than equal to 2. Yeah, I'll add more to that.
dp of 2 should be 2, right? Because 2 can
Yeah,
be, yeah.
You will come with
Definitely.
the next iteration.
Yeah, next iteration I'll do that. So now dp of 2 will be equal to your dp of 2 plus dp of 2 minus 2, 0. Sorry. This will be your 0. And for 2, you already have 1. I think for 2 already you have 1. And for 0, you have
That is 1.
1. So 1, I think some. So 1 plus 1, 2. Yeah, it will be your final result. This will be 2. And again, for you'll take 3. dp of 3, if you will take, that will be equal to your dp of 3 plus 3 minus 1 you will do. 3 minus 1 is 2. And for getting 3, you have 0 ways. And for getting 2, you have 2 ways. So here it will be your, what do you say, 2. Again, you will check 3 is greater than this. If 3 is greater than this, then here dp of 3 will be your dp of 3 plus dp of 1. And this dp of 3 is what? 0 initially, and dp of 1 is,
That is 2, right?
updated value. Yeah, updated value you can take. 2 you can take. dp of 3 is 2 as of now. And dp of 1 is what? 1. So it will be 4. Now again you will go for
3, right? That will be 3.
No, sorry. 2 plus 1 is 3. This will be 3. And next time dp of 3 will be what? dp of 3, and 3 minus 3 will be 0, plus dp of 0. And dp of 3 is what? 3 plus dp of 0 is how much? 1. 3 plus 1 is 4. So finally your 4. dp of 3 will be updated by 4. And similarly, you can go for dp of 4, you have to check. So dp of 4 will be your dp of 4 plus 4 minus 1, 3. dp of 3, and dp of 3 is your 4 is 0 and 3 is 4. So it will be 4. Now again this dp of 4 plus 4 minus 2, 2. dp of 2, and 4 is 4, and dp of 2 is 2, I think. So 4 plus 2 is 6. And again dp of 4 will be equal to dp of 4 plus 4 minus 3, 1, dp of 1. And 6, here you have 6 plus 1. 6 plus 1 is what? 7. And you return the last value. Sorry, 6 plus 1 is 7. And you return the last value, this 7 from here.
2 questions.
Yeah.
First thing is dp of 1 is equals to dp of 1 plus dp of 0. How did you come up with that formula? And intuitively, it doesn't occur to me that dp of 1 can be dp of 1, which we are calculating right now, which we don't know plus something else. You're getting my point?
I mean, I got my first. See, you have to build a target of 4, right?
Yeah.
So first I thought, what are the ways of building of, what are the number of ways? Let's say if I have a target of 1, what are the ways of getting 1? How many ways you can get 1? What are the possible combinations? So I mean, here your target will be 1. Now I'll check whether this number is greater than this or not. 1 is greater than this or not. If 1 is greater than this, then its complement will definitely be greater than 0. So 1 I'll break into 0 and 1, and number of getting zeros is 1. This is by default, which I have taken. And for
When you're
DP,
saying complement, I missed you there.
complement is like, let's say if you take 2 here, 2 if you take, then 2 minus 1 will be what? 1?
Yeah.
So number of ways of getting first.
Sorry.
Yeah, his voice is
Those
breaking.
are the
He'll come
number.
back. Okay.
It's like, okay. I'm saying 2 is here, right? Yeah. First, let's say my target is, am I audible, right?
Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. So 1. So what are the ways of getting first 1? So ways of getting 1 will be what? I'll first check the number which are present in my array. Number are like 1 and 3. First, I'll check whether my 2 is greater than 1 or not. If it is greater than 1, the complement of it will be 1, right? So 2 can be written as sum of 1. So what are the ways of getting this and what are the ways of getting this? When you club these two, these are the ways of getting 2. Next target, I'll look for 3. 3 can be broken into 1 and 2. What are the ways of getting 2? What are the ways of getting 1? And you already know the number of ways of getting 2. So you can put it here. If you go for 4, 1 and 3 you have. What are the ways of getting 3? That you can append here.
So when you're saying complement, it means you are trying to break it with the previous numbers, right? That is what you're
previous, yeah. First number and target minus that.
But I think Rajendra was asking, like, if you have the first one, dp of 1 is equal to dp of 0 plus dp of 1, right?
Yeah.
In that case, when you said dp of 0 is 1, so he was wondering how that came.
That by
no. My can we go back?
Sure. Sure.
DP of 0 is a base case, right?
Yeah,
base
DP
case,
of 0 is 1. I understood, because they are all positive numbers. There is only one way you can get 0.
Correct.
Because, so that I understood. But the equation at line number 20, DP of 1, which I am trying to find out, is dependent on DP of 1 itself, which I am trying to find out again. That is what my problem is.
Well, actually, he's trying to see that value you already have, right? DP of 1. Whatever you are trying to find, that value is currently 0. Correct?
So I'm giving 0. I'm not giving any importance to initial.
So he's just written it explicitly, but here it is nothing that.
Okay, I see.
You can even make a DP of 1 as a base case also, right? Like DP of 0 is 1 and DP of 1 of 1. 1 is also 1.
But next time, again, when you will counter for 2, you will get 1. Will you use that base case? I mean, time again.
0 and 1 both are 1, 1, right? Because there is only one way to get 1 and one way to get 0. So
initially,
both of them are like.
No, but if you subtract, like if you go to 3 and 2, then when you have to subtract from 2 with 2, then you will still have something as a base case. You need that DP of 0.
No, I'm saying both of them can be a base case, 0 and 1.
Yeah.
So I have to start from 2 then, that you are saying.
Yeah, then you can start from 2. I mean, if you want to explain it that way, that there is only one way to create 1 and one way to create 0. So we can take them as a base case. I mean, it's up to the person. I mean, this is also right. But
yeah, it's just reducing one traversal. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, she's telling that to start here. Yeah, that's also a good one.
My thing was, it is not intuitive to me to phrase this equation. DP of n is equal to DP of n plus something else.
I minus n. Yeah. So, but at first, I'm not giving any importance to this. I'm giving 0 only.
I see that, because it is all initialized to 0. But then why do you have it there at all?
So isn't this like a staircase?
He's
top
going
down?
to add whatever the value is in that that index. He's going to add with the previous one. That is what is
Because next time again I'll make use of it. No.
So the way in C++ what we do is dp of 1 plus equal to dp of 0, right? So you are using the same variable first, whatever the value is there, you are just adding that value with the one which you want.
He's telling that he wants to find dp of 1, but still I'm depending on that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
For example, what is happening is line number 24, the output of line number 24 is being used. Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Output of line number 26 is being used in the line number 28.
Yeah.
So initially all dp other than 0th value, they are all zeros, initialized to zeros.
Yeah.
This is not the final one. Like I have to achieve a target of 4, right? This dp of 1 can be used n number of times, like dp of 2 used here. So intermediate state I updated dp of 2, and again I'm using the same whatever previous result I have on dp of 2, that I'm again using it. That's why I'm keeping store intermediate point. What is my dp of 2?
So basically what I see is dp of 2, the intermediate one, is just a temporary variable, so to say.
Kind of. Yeah.
It is a staging variable. If you make that clear, then things will become very clear, I think.
Better we could have taken some temp here, right?
Yeah. And
and subsequent.
And basically that is 26 is also temp. The output of 26 is also temp.
Yeah, d of temp only. Yeah, correct. And now at dp of 2, I'll use this temp variable.
Yeah.
It's I mean, like,
yeah, instead of 20 dp temp, you should set temp only in the 26.
But every time like 3 you will go, what you'll use another variable here again, same for denoting corresponding to every index. This is unique,
the
right?
thing is, you need the values of 0, 1, 2, 3 to calculate subsequent values. That's why we use the array, right?
This is fine, but I'm not able to, basically, I would not be able to design this.
See, when you are at 3, then you may require a value of 1 and 2 also, right?
So yes, correct. He's trying to say that the way you have done it, it's not very intuitive. To some people, like maybe.
If you are telling here, if I use temp, next time what should I use? Which variable should I put? I mean, any new variable will have to take, or same temp?
I have a question, but let me ask it in a different way.
Okay.
You are doing it bottom up, but it is not intuitive to me. Top down, I can imagine. So did you start with top down first, then came to bottom up, or
I use that recursion tree. Recursion tree only I use, which I was showing. Like if I use 1, I mean, then rest is 3. Now what are the ways of getting 3? Then what are the ways of getting 1 and 2? What are the ways of getting 2? And then I'll add subsequently from bottom up, and then. But
yes,
it's first from top down, which
in this recursion tree, when you are computing 3 and then you are caching it, basically that is your dp3. You see nowhere the dp3 is in the below subtree of 3. Nowhere 3 is coming.
Has 1 and
it has 1 and 2. Then 2 will further become 1 and 1.
1.
So the recursion tree, if I read recursion tree, it will be say recursion 3 equals to recursion 2 plus recursion 1.
1.
But the dp array, the formula that you have come up with is dp1 is equals to dp1 plus dp0. I don't know where you made that jump, because in
this from here I'm not making this as a base case. This from here it came 0 1 0. How you, okay, so here how will you write dp of 1? dp of 1 you'll write as like that only. No, dp of 1 is equal to dp of 1 plus dp of 0. and for 0 I have 1 ways, and for
No,
1
no. Why? What Rajendra is saying, the way you go from top to down, right? In that
Yeah.
case, DP of 3 actually is splitting from DP of 1 to 1 and 2,
DP
right?
exactly. Yeah.
Okay, but when you are representing in your bottoms up, you are saying DP of 3 is equal to DP of 3 plus DP of 1 and DP of 2, something like that, right?
Yeah.
So that is not
So
coming in the recursion of the top down.
here it's coming. No, here it's not coming. How will you get 1?
Wait, so how will you get 1 is you'll get the recursion of 0 plus the value 1. Then only you will get 1. In the recursion, so one part is recursive, the other part gives you a solid value.
Base case. Yeah. That 0 gives you a base value. I mean.
Yeah, the 0
1.
is actually 1, and then you can say, okay, what should I add on to it? So I got 0 in so many ways, say n different ways.
1.
Then I just add a concrete value of 1 to it. Then only I'll get the next value.
Yeah.
So one leg of it is how many ways I can compute this side, and then the complement is just a concrete value of 1, which is just 1. So that concrete value is not a DP itself. It is just one constant 1.
Constant 1, yeah. So
DP of 1 is not equal to DP of 1 plus DP of 0.
No.
That is how I saw it. DP of 1 is equals to 1 plus DP of 0. That
So
I can see.
Sorry, it's something like Fibonacci series. Let's say Fibonacci series, we start with 0 and 1, and then we go right. So we take that as base case, right? So here, so if you, Shashank, if you draw the graph like tree structure of one, like take 4 and then draw like till the end, you will understand what like. At least you need to start somewhere, right? So that's where we need to start, like 0 and 1. So can you draw like 4, 4, 3, like whatever you like whatever you did before, like tree structure, yeah.
Yeah, this is 3, and for this is 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
For this is 1 and 1, and for getting 1 you'll have 0 and 1.
Yeah. So we'll generally end up with 1 and 1. So we need to start somewhere, right? So that's where we go for 0 and 1. That's my guessing.
That's correct. What I'm saying is, let us read it top down. To have the recursive solution to 4, we need to compute recursive solution to 1 as well as recursive solution to 3. Correct?
Yeah.
That is how I'm reading it from top down.
Yeah.
Never would I write to get the answer of 4, recursive answer of 4, I will compute recursive answer of 4 plus recursive answer of 1. That is not a recursion. That is an endless recursion.
Yeah.
No, from top down, you'll find this pattern. Like, I mean, yeah, initially you'll do like this: dp of n is equal to dp of 1 plus n minus 1, right?
So what I'm saying is recursion will not be, recursion will go into endless recursion unless the sub-problems are smaller. The sub-problems must be smaller than the original problem.
So I got his point. So he's telling like dp of n, it should be something like dp of n minus 1 plus dp of n minus 2, something like that. Not like dp of n.
What I'm saying is any problem, recursive problem, the sub-problems must be smaller than the original problem. In that way, the solution that Shashank was sharing was basically it is saying dp of 4 is dp of 4 plus dp of 3. That is an infinite recursion to me.
So in that case, you can use temp for dp of 4 everywhere, right?
Let's say if you come to variable 3, then
if you go there, you know what he's trying to say in the first one on line 22, you don't use dp of 1. You say temp is equal to temp plus dp of 0. Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and then at the end, when you are done with that, okay, just say temp. No, not
this
one.
Will also...
No. Just remove the whole thing. Yeah, just dp also. No, what I'm saying is, On the equal sign, before
Yeah.
equal signs, you say, okay.
Huh?
Yeah, just remove the DP1. Yeah. Yeah, make it temp.
And temp.
Yeah. And so now when you are done with this whole thing, at that time you come after on line 27, you can say DP of 1 is equal to temp.
Okay. But
because when you say temp, when you say DP of 1, it means DP of 1 is equal to DP of 1 plus DP of 0. There it goes for an endless recursion. That is what he's trying to say.
But how will, I mean,
it appears,
you
know, it appears. That is what, yeah, it's not happening, but for someone who's just looking at it, it looks like it's an endless recursion.
Recursion, yeah.
Right,
I mean, which I have not computed.
Yeah, that is how it looks like. That's
Yeah.
what my point was. I don't have an answer. Basically, I was trying to understand how to design this thing. So if I were here, what I would do is, like Sasank was sharing the other draw board. Basically, DP is nothing but just caching the intermediate results, so that we will basically we won't have to recompute that path again. For example, 4, I already calculated DP of 1. That may be a limiting situation, but DP of 1 can also go to DP of 0 and things like that. But once I computed DP of 1, I'm just caching it, so that the next time when I'm computing 3, I can just reuse that. I won't have to traverse that tree. So that is the top down. So top down DP thing is a recursive problem where you have already cached the already computed solutions. So I would have approached that way.
Yeah, something like recursion with memorization problem.
Yeah, recursion with memorization. There is a very good contrast between top down and bottom up. In the top down, you only cache those which you have computed, which needed to be computed. You computed that and cached it. But in bottom up, because it is an array, you are computing everything, hoping that any future problem will need this sub problem. So in that
which
way,
has already been computed.
Yeah, that's why thinking that we are already computing bottom up. In the top down, you only compute what was required by the problem. So there are situations where the bottom up is actually more time consuming than the top down, because some of the solutions you don't even need it in the actual problem. So okay, that is a separate discussion. But what I was saying is, I was able to see the top-down approach, top-down DP here, but not the bottom-up DP. That was my point.
Okay.
But
so
most of the.
But actually, what he was trying to say is we should have, you know, like first, if we can start with top-down approach, and then go to bottoms-up approach, it's more intuitive.
Yeah.
Top-down is intuitive, more intuitive. Top-down, like from there only we go to here.
Yeah, top-down was intuitive, but I missed that link when you started writing bottom-up that way.
Right.
That is what my point.
No problem.
One thing I want to say that in bottom-up, as you said, it is more time-consuming and it goes into an infinite loop. In one solution, I saw that they solve this problem by just a check, just like if DP of I is not equal to 0, then use that DP as called the recursion. Just like in one, you are calculating for DP of 0 plus DP of 1. Once it is calculated, DP of 1 is over 0. So next time when you calculate DP of 2 as DP of 1 plus DP of 1, then you will not go over again to 101 and 101. You will just use the value. Are you getting what I'm saying?
It depends on that DP formula, I think. If you just need the previous value and not the previous more values, then the DP formula is what is more important, and that can decide if you want to store the from 0 to n or just the previous number.
I mean just that if DP of something is not equal to its initial value, then just use the latest value. Otherwise, compute DP of that.
Yep.
Okay,
That makes
we
sense.
can continue.
Yeah, I can have if I can show you one of the top-down approach
sure.
if you are interested. Okay.
Just one quick question to Rajan. Like, if you say dp of 4 is equal to dp of 1 and 3, next time I again need to use that 4, right? Sorry, let's say for 2 I'm calculating. dp of 2 will be dp of 1 and dp of 1, right?
Yeah.
But when I go to 3, it will be dp of 3 and dp of 2. So if I don't store the value of dp2, how will I use it here then?
Yeah. You will store it finally. No, give me a second. I was not giving a solution. All I was saying is I needed help to come up with how this thing was designed. Basically, how 34 line. I mean, looking at line number 34, it looked like an infinite recursion to me. So that I was not able to grasp.
It's because of I already initialized everything with the 0 other than 1, so that if dp of 4 first time you get, you won't have any value, simply hit a 0, like way of just writing a variable, and contribution is 0 first time.
Okay.
It's not intuitive. Yeah. Okay, we'll check it. Let's see. Okay. Yeah.
So actually what Shashank is saying, your implementation as well as what you were describing is perfectly right. That's no problem.
Correct.
But for some other person who is a layman who just joined in, who doesn't know anything about DP, for him to understand, some of the things need to be slightly
intuitive
way. Yeah.
Exactly.
I agree on that, because I also forget most of the time when we come back, revisit same problem again and again. Someone has to give a push start there.
Push. Yeah. Exactly.
No problem. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Continue.
Thanks, Arjun. Thanks. Yeah. He wants to share something.
I'll quickly share this one.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the memoized version and the top-down approach. This is what do you say? The entry function combination for sum 4 memoized version. It's in C++, so I'm using nums target, and then I'm using a memo over here, which I'm using for the length of target plus 1, initializing all its values to -1. And then I'm using a helper function where I'm actually sending my parameters as nums, target, and memo, and this is the helper function. So for this, the base condition here is if the target value is 0, then I return 1. If it is less than 0, I return 0. And then this is the memo target. If it is not equal to 1, I return the memo target. And in this, I'm just running a for loop. And I'm running from 0 to num size. So for all of them again, and then here I'm calling the recursive helper function again. And at this time, I'm decreasing the target value by nums minus I. And here I'm again storing in the memo. It's a simple recursive app implementation, right?
So this is top down.
Correct. Yeah, top down. Okay, this is more easier to understand.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, right, Shashank?
Yeah, that I got target money. Yeah.
Okay.
It's every time story. Yeah.
Okay, off to you.
Yeah. Do I need queries, or we can proceed to next?
Yeah, let's move to the next one. That's slightly complex.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Okay. So it's like largest. Yeah. Somebody.
The solution in this, I mean, you take the target from the for the n numbers, you get it from n-1, and you include that the last number as such.
I didn't get. Can you repeat once more?
So I was just referring to it like this. So if I need target for 4 with these 3 numbers, I will try to get it from 1 and 2 and then include 2, something like that.
Yulin.
So I need to get target 4.
Yeah.
Now the array is 1, 2, 3. Is it?
Okay.
Is it possible to get from 1 and 2 for 1 and 2 be getting from 1 as such?
Yeah, you can get from 1 and 2. Like all ones are used, then you're getting 4
No.
or 2
I'm
2.
saying the solution for n is dependent on n minus 1, something like that.
Yeah.
Is it possible to do? I was asking actually.
So what in the top down or in the bottoms up, or a general question?
In general, either top down or bottom approach. So I was referring to it like this. So at every for sum for target and n is based on sum comma n minus 1 and sum minus that new element minus n. This again the j itself.
Yeah.
Can you write this equation? I'm just trying.
Sure. That will be more clear. Yeah, say.
A of let's just, the target will be the array A of sum.
A of sum.
And the other dimension is n.
Equal to, right? Or what?
No. It's a 2-dimensional array. A of sum
okay,
is
okay.
The second dimension is n. And is equal to A of sum n minus 1 plus A of sum and sum minus that element of j. You can sum no.
A of j.
No. This is the sum is sum minus aj.
Oh, here in first dimension you are saying.
Yeah, first dimension is sum minus aj.
Yeah. So
sum minus aj.
And this is n itself.
Yeah. Okay, so you are trying to say if we can use a 2-dimensional array instead of using a single dimensional array, right?
No, I'm asking, is this possible to do?
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah. So, but he was trying to do it more, what do you say, space
optimization,
optimization, yeah, and therefore he has used it. But this is the right way to do it actually initially, and then come to that.
This is, yeah,
that's the most optimum way of representing what Shashank did. But
okay,
this is also possible. Yeah.
Does the solution look correct? I haven't tried it. That's what I was asking. Will there be any duplicate or something like that? I was actually thinking in this way.
Actually, we'll have to go through it, but it should be possible. I'm not saying that it won't, but there might be some tweaks. Like where you said A of sum n minus 1, instead of that it would be A of sum n and then the other way, like A of s minus aj and n minus 1, something like that. But we'll have to look at it properly. But it should be possible.
No, you need to draw a table and check it then.
Yeah, we'll have to draw a table of it. Now we are actually, earlier we used to do it this way, right? But then we moved to the very easy way because we are taking everything for granted now. Like everyone knows about it. Okay.
Yeah. This is the initial bottom up way to do a 2D array.
We were doing it earlier, right? Yeah. But we should mention that also, I think, in the next.
It's yeah, whenever we find next question.
Yeah.
Okay, you can proceed then. some chat is, I don't know what is there.
No, I think that's okay.
Okay. Oh yeah, largest component size by common factor. So there a non-empty array is given of unique positive integers. Consider the graph. There are a dot length nodes which are labeled from 0 to this. I mean till the last element. There is an edge will exist between a and aj if and only if ai and aj share a common factor. I mean both the way it will go around if and only if is there. Sorry. We need to return the size. Yeah. So if there is a common factor, there will be edge between these two. And if there is a edge, then there will be a common factor between these two. So return the size of largest. So here you can see all the fours are connected and size of this one is 4. 4 to 6. You have common factor 6 to 15. You have common again this. And if you look here, your largest will be 2 because both the sizes are equal only. And both of them have a common factor 20 and 50 and 9 and 63. And again, if you go here, 2 to 6, you have a common factor. 6 and 4 also you have a common factor of 2. 4 and 12 also you. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then also you have 3 common. So 4 plus 1, 5. Again here 6. And from here somehow I don't. If
7 is only 21. Yeah.
21. Yeah, and again 3 and 6 will have. So all 8 will come into what? 3, 3, 6 to 8. Yeah. So because of that.
What is return value?
Pardon? Return value is what would be the size of the largest connected component. This is all are connected. So their largest size is 8.
So you have to go to each and every node and find out which one has the maximum nodes connected to that node, correct? To return that value.
I mean, there could be different components like this case. One component this, had there been one more, like let's say 21 was attached to this, then 3 would have been the answer.
Yeah. So in the third example, when it is saying 8, so if you go to the 2, it's not 8 because it's only connected to 3. If you go to 6, it is connected to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is also not. But if you go to 3, it is 1, 2, 3, 4. 7 is only 1. So then which one is 8? Is it 12? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No.
I think it's like every node is like kind of interconnected, kind of not directly.
Yeah, it's not directly. It can be via other way also.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not showing any direct edge.
No, it's not direct. Yeah.
Not direct.
Yeah.
So it means in this case, in the example 3, it is all the nodes, correct?
Yeah, all the nodes.
Because they are all.
We have only one. Yeah, only one component we have here. We don't have two components.
Can you go to example 2 once?
Yeah, example 2. This is one component, connected component. This is another connected component.
Yeah,
Both of them have common factor.
So there are no common factor between 20, 50, 9, 63. Even let's say, if instead of 9, if we have like something like 5,
then there will be edge.
Yeah, then the answer would be like a 4, I guess.
4, yeah. Then edge will exist there.
Yeah, edge will exist. Yeah,
yeah.
So this is almost like a what you say island problem, correct?
Yeah.
Go in a DFS way, but in the island you just find number of islands. But here you don't have to find the number of islands, but you have to find the number of connected components in a single island, which are the largest one.
And you get that size.
Yeah, there's written that size. So either you do it the DFS way, or then you use the union find. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but the only tricky part is when you are saying an edge. So edge connection between two nodes, which is an edge. So the condition is you have to have a common factor. Factor is in the sense like a prime factor, right?
Yeah, and they are telling that one you shouldn't consider like somewhere. Yeah,
Yeah, then
apart
it doesn't
from
make sense, right? If it is one, then everyone is connected always.
every yeah, exactly. That's why we'll start from 2.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I went through the solution. It was slightly difficult for me to understand earlier.
Yeah, I also
Yeah, but then what I understood from that is, for like if you go for example 1, 2, 3, any one of them, you start first actually making creating all the prime factors of each and every number. Like in the
Yeah.
first one, you have 4, 6, 15, and 35. You create
Yeah.
prime factors for each and every one. You form a list for that, maybe store it in some map or so. And then you find which are the common ones, prime factors that have some indexes. So you can form a union find of it. And then again revisit these prime factors for each and every number, and then form a union.
Union.
Union with the lowest value of each and every prime factor of a given number. So when you do that, in that you try to connect each and every those elements of that array, and at the end you come out of the DSU, and then you try to find how much of them are connected for each and every value of that array element, and whichever is the largest maximum value, you return it.
Yeah. And a small optimization they have done while calculating the prime factorization. This maximum number they have taken the maximum number from the array, and they have taken the root of that. And
the square root, right? Yeah. So that is a better way of calculating the prime factors, or else you will have a lot of time.
Normal way of
it takes it gives you a TLE. And also I found that when you're trying to implement the union find or DSU, if you don't use the path compression, then you hit a TLE.
TLE. Yeah. So this I didn't get much, like why root, because after let's say 35 root is 5, right?
5
Nearest 5 only.
Yeah.
So after 5, if I take any element, that won't be a factor of any of them, right? See, 4 factor is 2 into 2, 6 factor is 2 into 3, prime factor only I'm talking, and 15 is 3 into 5, and and we are running only from 2 to root of the largest number. So only from 2 to 5 we are running. The reason behind they are not going beyond 5, because if we take 6, 7, 8, something like that, that will never be a common factor for these 3. I'm not clear, I'm just guessing. Like,
so the seventh one, right? You are talking about the 7.
6, 7, 7. Let's say 7 only.
Yeah, because there is 7. See what happens, even if it is not, because you are looking at the last one. But if you look in a generalized way, you have to do it for all. I understand for the maximum value at the end, you won't find any use of the last prime factor, which is very big, correct? But if you are inside, like in the case of 15, okay, it's 3 and 5. So if this array input was only 4, 6, 15, so 5 was not required, right? But now we have added 35, so 5 is also required. Correct. So the last prime factor is not relevant in the very end case, but it is relevant in the intermediate ones as well as the beginning ones, right? So on a generalized scale, you have to do it for all, to make it more generalized. So you do it for each and every one.
That is more optimized, like restricting. I mean, for loop, they are not allowing to run like anything, right? Only restricting between 2 and the root of the biggest number. Till that point, if you find any factor, then only that would be common. Otherwise, the moment you go beyond 5, you'll never have factor over. I mean, that won't.
Exactly.
Will never be a
So that is the way the prime factors are calculated. That's
I think that's some Fermat's theorem, something like that. It is.
As that Erotrus use.
Your name is also Pollen's algorithm. If somebody haven't implemented it, if you have share it, or if somebody
I can.
Brute force one.
You have a brute force?
Yeah. How will you proceed with brute force? Like
What?
brute force you are telling, right? You want to mention some brute force method.
Yeah, I tried the n square approach. I mean, every element to every other element.
A pair of elements you are taking and finding the common one.
Yeah, common,
Oh,
the GCD itself.
So do you
oh.
want to share it?
Share it here.
But that didn't,
It's okay. I mean, just let's see what you did.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, GCD you are using to calculate that.
Yeah.
Look, you can walk through like.
Yeah. So basically, I'm created a union find of that size, and for every element to every other element, I'm trying to find the GCD, and if GCD is greater than one, I'm trying to union of those two indexes, and after all this union, I'm getting. Actually, I'm using a union find by size itself, and so the largest component size is nothing but the max of that array size. So initially I'm initializing all the parents with its own indexes and size as one, and for the find I used the compression technique where you compress it to the root itself.
Yeah.
So you find, so whenever you get a find for a particular index, you find the the topmost parent, and you reinitialize with the whole chain with that parent pointing to that parent, and that is a find. And union is nothing but you find the parent for both of them, and if they are not equal, you do a union by size.
So in compression technique, grandchildren is attached to the grandparent, right? Like the top parent.
That is path by half, but I'm compressing it to till the root itself.
Like
So
one's child is 2 and two's child is 3, then 3 will be connected to 1. Like 1 will have child as 2 and 3. That is
suppose,
compression.
let's take it like this. 1 is connected to, 4's parent is 3, 3's parent is 2, 2's parent is 1. So in this while loop, I'm trying to find that 1.
Okay.
And in the next while loop, I'm initializing the 4, 3, 2 to 2, 1.
Okay. Yeah. 4, 3, 2, 2. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of doing the recursive way, he has done it using the
iterative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the union, I try to do it by size directly. I mean, instead of by rank, I try to do it by size, because you will get the largest component size as max of that array itself.
Okay.
So, but in this case, your size should only be okay. Oh, you are actually using a parent index and child index as a different variables itself. Okay, no problem. So they will be fine. Yeah, got it.
Yeah, so size of parent index will increase by the child index when a union happens, and when we want the largest component size, I'm taking the max of that array size array itself.
Okay.
So, but then why it should hit a TLE in your case? You should be able to get it, right?
No, I think because
It's n square, right? N square, something like that.
No, actually.
That prime factorization, GCD, because of GCD, I think that is.
I don't think so. That also should work. Okay. But okay, one thing in your path compression for that find operation, find. So did you try using the recursive way? Because I had a similar problem, because earlier I was not doing path compression. So I just had a while loop, parent index is not equal to index and index is equal to parent of index. So I didn't have the rest of it, only the return top parent was there. Didn't have the second while loop. So that was correct. It's not going to be a path compression there, right? So, but then you added this code for path compression.
Yeah.
So instead of this, if you could do a path compression using recursion, so did you try that ever?
No, I just tried this approach itself.
So yeah, if you make that small change, maybe you won't have a TLE, because that was the key for me. I just removed my TLE immediately.
But I mean, you are saying the path by half or the complete compression itself?
Okay, can you just quickly modify it for a minute here?
Yeah.
I'll just, so yeah, in the while loop, the first while loop, where you have index is equal to parent index, right?
Yeah.
So in that index, instead of index, you say parent of index there. Yeah, there it's just say parent. I just say index, make that parent of index.
Within box bracket,
Yeah, in the box bracket.
Okay.
Index. You can call. Oh no, just put only index there.
Yeah, simply index.
And in this equal to, after equal to, say find first.
After equal to?
Yeah, just say find.
Okay. Find of that page.
No, it's recursion. Like here, after equal to line number 19, after equal to find.
Well, I'll just write in the chat and give it to you. Okay. So what I was saying is parent of.
Okay, there is no while loop you are saying.
No, 19 number after equal to, you need to go for recursion, right? So you have to use the same function name here before parent index. Just write here find. In line number 19, you write find. Within that, you pass parent.
So I've just sent you a small statement in the chat.
Exactly.
Find of index.
Find of index. But the first one also, you need to modify it.
Okay. I think I got it. I will try to write it like that.
Yeah, I just comment on that for some time.
Yeah.
Can somebody please post a good link for union find solution, the algorithm?
Bhavesh has taken. I will post it in the Slack.
Okay.
Actually, Roger did a video on union find.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
It was very well explained.
I think it's 4 hours, something like that, 2 videos.
I thought Bhavesh did it, right? Do we have the Rogers?
No, Bhavesh, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, Bhavesh.
Can somebody please post the link?
Well,
let me check.
It should be on the YouTube. Yeah, I can check.
Okay.
Yeah, just corresponding to the thread you posted, that third question.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Please post it in the thread.
Yeah, this one.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
so that should take almost, but no, actually when you're returning index, you don't have to return index, right? And actually don't return it from the first if statement. When you are returning parent index, don't return from there. Just say parent index is equal to find of index. Yeah. And when, no return there.
Okay. No return there. Okay.
Just remove that return. And here when you are returning index, you say return parent index.
Oh, no. Actually, this is the same actually. So it tries to assign this to this one, and it returns that.
After every if it's returning, no. But
okay, but I did it this way. But yeah, you can give a shot to that. Yeah.
Let's run. Let's see. Expect
Okay.
bracket. Yeah.
Return parent index. Yeah, you'll have to have a bracket another.
Mhm. Cannot find.
Parent of index. Okay, this is I. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Mhm. It will hit TLE.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was taking too much time.
Yeah, the same.
Okay, maybe you can post that solution somewhere. I can also give a look for it, because I think the GCD one is also a good approach.
I think you can check at which point it is giving you TLE by use debugger. Okay.
So I tried the solution the way they have implemented in the solution, as well as I found one good thing in the discussion session. So
Yeah.
both of them, the one which I found in the discussion session was actually slightly better on the timings than the one on the solution.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just share it.
Okay, I can quickly run it because a bigger solution though.
Yeah.
So this is the one what was in the solution. In the solution, what comes in. So this is the DSU. I did the DSU way here. Then the find I was actually referring to this way. That is what I got slightly better. And then this is the union. And this is the I'm trying to get all the factors, the prime factors. Okay, I into I square if it is lesser than or equal to the x. So you get.
And rest will not contain duplicate. I mean, like if already we have, let's say 5 is there, and next time a number is there which is dividing 5, that shouldn't be again in the rest, right? That you are checking here.
Yeah, I'm checking the while loop.
Small, okay.
In this while loop, I am actually dividing that x by the same number, and then only I come out. So all the 2s, 3s, 5s, whenever I reach every stage, I just remove it from our x, so they are not repeated. And then I enter in this if statement only if they are what
dividing,
divisible. Yeah, divisible.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end, if I don't find anything, so then I enter that number, because in the case of like 30 something very weird, 53 or so, you won't find any of them, right? So you'll have to have that at least here. It will have a single prime factor, correct? So very odd cases. So this is the function. Actually, when you come here, you find the factors, what it states. So looking at A array, okay, I'm just using a 2-dimensional array, okay, and I'm storing all the prime factors of each and every element of the A over here by using the get factors. Okay, so then I come down, then I actually put them in the set. Okay, when you put them in the set, you are going to get a single only non-duplicate ones, correct? And they are in order because the set is ordered one. So then I come down here again, do an index prime, in the sense what I do is take that value and give it a index. That's the only thing what I do. The previous one what I did over here. So why it is being done? Because you have to find some indexes for the union find. Okay, so then I know that how many prime factors are there, the unique ones. So then I form a DSU for that. And then I again run in the for loop for each and every element of the array, wherever I had calculated all those prime factors earlier. And then for each and every factor, I come here and find a union of that list of prime factors with its initial one.
DSU?
DSU I'm using
disjoint set unit.
Disjoint set is another form of union find, but I just
union
use the
find.
same line, yeah.
Okay, I don't know about that. Could you please share the solution after the discussion is over?
Sure. I'll do that.
Yeah.
Okay, please
It
put
is union find only, but some of them call
Yeah.
it disjoint set union.
Okay, I see.
But we got very used to the way what Bhavesh has given us. So
Union find, yeah.
yeah. So all implementation is unified, not DSU. Yeah. So then you have the prime factor. You start with 0, and then for each and every factor, I do a union. Correct.
So
And
every
then,
first value you are taking in that
yeah.
factors. Yeah. Okay.
So that will be the least one. So maybe if it's
Okay.
2, everyone will be pointing 2. Correct.
Yeah.
Something like that. And then I come here and then I take another array count. Actually, the way what Uday was doing, I could have used the size one also, but I didn't go there. But I'm doing it over here. Okay, put that in the count. Try to go to each and every factor. Okay, for each and every element what we had calculated earlier. Go to that factor list, take the first element. Okay, and find what is the root, and then set a count.
And then increment.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the last one is just actually finding which is the maximum. I could have done it over here only, but doing it here explicitly because I did exactly the way they did in solution because it was very difficult for me to understand that in the solution. Yeah.
And
so I thought maybe do it in this way. So then it was okay. It was actually passing out only except for I got a TLE only on this path compression. So I thought maybe the similar thing what Uday was getting. So because they are also using a lot of processing, and if you see my submission was very high earlier ones, like it has 680, 690, something like that, right?
Yeah.
So but then I used one of the discussion forum and I was able to optimize it to 232. So that was
drastic changes there from 200 to
yeah. So if
that gate factors function can you take once like
which
so
one?
you use gate factors function would be there like for calculating.
Oh, you want to see that? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, this is what you are doing from
right. So I'm passing a value here.
Okay.
And then I'm iterating from 2. Start with 2, and like I into I if it is less than or equal to x, right? So it is almost like a square root.
So, but not of the maximum number. X need not be maximum, right?
X need not be.
No,
maximum.
what they have, if you go to solution, they have taken from 2 to the max of the number in that array. That logic,
which one?
W equal to max of, in the top they have said something to extreme to top. Discussion section. Yeah, top. Drag it up. This is what this one. More top. This one I'm telling max of A of I. This are you using somewhere this concept? Like they took the maximum element from the array and they took the square root of it and they're running from 2 to R.
Well, I did that in a different implementation. So what they are trying to do here is you find the maximum value of whatever is in there, right? And then you do your changes, correct? But I did not implement that because I implemented exactly the way they showed in the solution. But I actually did it for the other solution here. It is also union find. So this one. Okay, I'll just show you that solution, why I use that. Okay, so this is again the same union find. There's no change in it. Okay, union find.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I go here, the first thing I find a max value here. Okay, so here what I do, I find the max value and then I create a DSU using the max value. Okay, so now I have the max value plus 1 for the DSU. So each and every, like the way we do for the DP, correct?
Yeah.
And then here instead of finding factors for each and every one, what this guy was cleverly saying is, you just find a factor of 1, correct? You come here, you still go for the factors calculation.
Yeah.
And then when you come here, you find you have come with one factor, whatever that factor was, and then you do a union find of it, and then in the next immediately in the union find you do for the remainder one also. So
Okay.
it need not be a prime factor because you have already found one prime factor, that is fine. Like if the number is 12,
Hmm.
so you find the first prime factor as 2. So
Two,
do union find of the current value. Actually, it will be something here, right? Current value will be the AX value, like 12. 12 and 2,
Okay.
you find a union. And then you with the 12, again you find union of
6.
6.
Yeah.
Correct.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
once you do that, you don't have to do more.
Oh.
Okay.
Hmm.
So once you do
Yeah.
that, and then so you have done for many of them. So that reduces, that actually does a lot of optimization.
Yeah, that is what.
And
Because of that, also TLE can come if we go the normal way. If we
right,
don't use, yeah.
because we end up doing many unions, and some of the test cases are very huge.
Use.
Correct.
Hmm.
So then at the end, you just do a unordered map. You find each and every element of that, and then find whatever is what you say the root for each and every one, and then count the
Yeah.
max, what we did earlier. So it looks very easy
Yeah.
also, this implementation, to understand. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
So
found
2-3
that was
points
very
like one point was like that square is giving you optimization and compression that is helping you from TLE.
right.
Yeah. Hmm.
So, but I like the way Uday was doing of the GCD. That might be a different way to implement.
That GCD is a already defined function in Java, or he was building some GCD. I mean,
You can build
explicitly
it
was
actually,
defined.
right? It should
Yeah,
not
but I
be.
think it was
Mhm.
already a library.
Oh,
I
really?
think.
I didn't see
I'm
that.
not sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you paste this solution. I mean, it's good to go through
Okay.
this.
I'll do that.
Mm.
But I found the second one to be more better. And when I was looking for the solutions in that, when you get to this part, right, in the submission.
Yeah.
So the last value, whatever I could, even if it was the most optimized version in the timings perspective, it was almost similar.
Mm.
Like here, where you come, all these ones, somewhere here also, it is almost the same solution. So even if the solution, what I'm getting here is behind 200, so some of the solutions around also 100 are exactly implemented the way it is implemented. So I don't know why the timings are different. But yeah, I think this is the most optimized way you're going to find out.
Question was good. Everything, every concept is checked, from union find to prime factorization to path compression.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that took a long time,
Yeah, exactly.
to
Yeah.
understand everything. But I thought maybe I'll at least brush up my DSU skills, the union find skills.
Yeah, exactly.
So I went into that. Yeah, it was a good
Yeah.
one to do it.
Yeah, it's a good one.
No problem. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll just stop sharing and off to you.
Yeah, it's done only.
Almost everyone is done. Okay.
Yeah.
You can stop the recording.
Yeah, sure.